Virtualization, VMware versus Hyper-V. Carl Anderson, Workstation and Server. The presentation will compare two of the most well-known pieces of virtualization software that is on the market right now. Hyper-V and VMware are both pieces of virtualization software that can mimic hardware functions and functionality. I will first discuss what virtuality is, including the pros and cons. I will look at Hyper-V and VMware's risks and benefits by breaking it down into 7 categories. Overview, how the product is used, business and management, licensing and pricing, operating system requirements, and the future. And give my final recommendations as which of the two virtualization products seems to be the most beneficial based on the information gathered. So first we must talk about what virtualization is. We use an abstract to make software look and behave like hardware with corresponding benefits and flexibility, cost, scalability, reliability, and often overall capability and performance in a broad range of applications. To understand what VMware and Hyper-V does, a person must know what it is. Virtualization allows people to create IT services that would be otherwise bound to hardware. With virtualization, you can distribute hardware resources and capabilities among a variety of virtual machines located on the server. VMware. VMware is leading the way in the virtualization of web hosting. VM virtual machines allow the user to create more than one operating system to run on a physical server. With VMware, there can be up to 16 instances of the virtual machine running on one single physical server. VMware kind of acts as the go-between the operating system and the hardware in which it's installed. According to MDA Hosting, VMware can increase the capacity of the hardware by dividing it into individual servers that are allocated with its own processors and memory. You can assign a portion to the available processor pool to each virtual system. The majority of VMware software applications are used in businesses or school settings. VMware makes it possible for more than one operating server to be run at a time. Hyper-V is like VMware, which it allows multiple virtual machines to run. Hyper-V is included with the installation of Windows Server 2008 and 2016. Hyper-V can also be done on a standalone, as it does not require an underlying operating system to run. However, you can lose some functionality, including graphical interface. Hyper-V works in conjunction with partitions or logic units. These different partitions will run the virtual machines in which have access to the physical hardware server. This is done by setting up a parent partition that allows workflow access between the children and the physical hardware. With Hyper-V, the user can provide software-controlled, policy-based virtual machines. Hyper-V virtualization can separate virtual networks from the physical environment. This allows the freedom for workloads to take place at the data centers. One feature of Hyper-V is that it allows different users with overlapping IP addresses to access a server without IP address errors. How the products are used. VMware can be used to test programs and drivers that are going to be used in production machines. This allows any bugs or compatibility issues to be discovered before deployment. VMware Workstations allows for the installation of multiple instances of different operating systems, including client and server OSs. VMware Workstations has its limitations, including hardware support, operating system issues, and network protocol hurdles. Some of the tools, VMware tools, are important to install on the system because the guest performance can lack important functionality. Installing VMware tools will include the actual service itself along with necessary drivers to be used. Hyper-V can be deployed in today's data centers, yet is compatible with emerging data center flat network technologies. The benefit to business using Hyper-V is that each virtual machine can run on its own space, allowing for more than one virtual machine to be running at the same time using the same hardware. One huge benefit is that IT technicians can reallocate resources to adjust to the demand. If a virtual machine needs more RAM or hard drive space, this is can be done with ease. Hyper-V also allows the user to replicate a variety of environments for testing purposes without having to purchase or maintain a physical server. Physical servers, business and management. Physical servers, for the most part, maintained, owned, managed by the business, and the IT team has full 24-hour access to the server, which can be beneficial to critical based operations. Organizations need reliable and secure storage solutions for their data and application. In years past, companies would go and buy the physical servers to store this information. To understand the benefits of virtualization, we have to look at the physical servers. One of the cons that one might look at is the high upfront cost for the equipment that would be needed to be purchased and replaced if any equipment fails. Also, users cannot scale the storage to their needs in small increments to maximize the workload. Virtualization, there's very little upfront cost and there's not a load hardware that needs to be purchased. With virtual servers, utilization is greatly increased because the actual application and types of servers can run on one physical machine. Decreasing the number of physical servers means businesses do not have to pay IT professionals to maintain and update them. Applications that took days to provision now can take matters of minutes, which leaves the IT professionals time to focus on other projects the management wants done. Server sprawl can be a consequence of setting up virtual machines. Administrators realize ease of setting up these servers and start setting up servers for everything. Instead of having 10 servers, now there are 20 or 30 to maintain. Licensing and pricing. VMware costs are more aligned with larger enterprises with a multitude of options that are available. A small company may purchase the smaller package, such as vSphere Essentials. This package runs at $560. However, if a need arises for the maximum, the price can top over $5,500. A 20 processor system on VMware can cost $1,116. Hyper-V standalone machine with quad-core processors, there is no cost, but as soon as a data center is added, the package can jump around $6,000. While both Hyper-V and VMware both offer free versions, VMware free versions are missing some of the features and functionality that Hyper-V offers. VMware does not require any operating systems to run, which can make up some feature costs that must be installed. Hyper-V has a free version, which is nice to companies who want to deploy as a trial run. However, in the end, both versions will need the paid for the actual business employment for full functionality and features. OS requirements. Both VMware and Hyper-V require 64-bit operating or 64-bit processors. For VMware, the processor needs to have at least 1.3 gigahertz with a recommended 4 gigs of RAM. It's suggested that at least 1 gig of hard drive is available for each guest operating system. You can run on Hyper-V, you can run multiple virtual machines with a minimum of 4 gigs of RAM. On the other side, you can build massive machines with 32 processors as much as 512 gigs of RAM. Some real-world requirements to get the most out of Hyper-V are to use solid-state drives. You can never have enough RAM or storage. If you have at least 16 gigs of RAM, the company might want to think about upgrading to ensure the speed there is. Final recommendations. When it comes down to it, this debate still goes on to which virtualization platform an organization should use. There are many similarities between Hyper-V and VMware. Looking at both of them, neither one is superior than the other in any situation that a company might think of. So when considering which way to go, a company must do some research as what is their end game, how will they use it, what are they trying to achieve as far as the company's vision. One factor that might sway a business is whether they have the agreement with Microsoft already. If so, the company might find it more cost effective to go to Hyper-V. Cost plays a huge role in scalability. In the end, they must choose one that suits their direct and unique needs. And here are my references.